who she thought were intruders in a stand your ground state, which we are in the state of Florida. And instead of being protected by the law, she was unlawfully, unjustly arrested, and she was held in the Duval County Jail for over 130 days until we were able to post a $500,000 bail this past Friday to free her. So she's standing behind me with her daughter, Naya. And I just wanted to come out here today to let the community know that we cannot stand by when we have unjust laws. We need to make sure that everybody, including Black women, has equal protection under the law, and that this is just the first step in our fight, because we will not let up until the charges are dropped. Just because she is free from incarceration doesn't mean she is free from the burden of these charges. And there's a fight ahead of her, but the community stands by her, not just here in Jacksonville, but all across the state of Florida and all across the country. The money that came in to get her free came from Oakland, came from Minnesota, came from Pennsylvania, from bail funds all across the country. So Diamonds is somebody who is supported, and we will not let up until these charges are dropped and we see true justice. Thank you. Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Rowe. You guys mind if we take our mask off?
That's
Is
fine.
that okay?
That's fine.
All right. My name is Steve Kelly of Wade Rowland Associates. I'm here with Mr. Rowe, as well as Ms. Shelton.
BJ Shelton with Fennell, McGinnis, Nizami, and Andux, and we represent Ms. Diamonds Ford's co-defendant Anthony Gant, who is still incarcerated.
And we're very, very happy and excited that Ms. Ford is out of custody. She was held in custody on a $535,000 bond. It is our position that she should have never been arrested. She should have never been charged. She should have never been held on that type of bond, considering her personal circumstances, not being a flight risk and not being a danger to the community. However, we're thankful that when I spoke to those sisters from Dignity Power, they came together. They told me that within a 14-day period that they would post $500,000 on behalf of Ms. Ford because they believed in her story, and that's exactly what they did. However, justice hasn't been served thus far. I believe that at every stage in the system thus far it has failed Mr. Gant as well as Ms. Ford, and moving forward, the only justice here is if all charges are dropped against Ms. Ford. You have anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Rowe?
Yes. So from this position, we're moving on, going forward with discovery. Discovery is like we go through the process of interviewing all the witnesses, setting depositions, litigating the case, and getting it to a point where hopefully the state attorney will see that there is no basis for bringing charges against Diamond. And also, if that doesn't work out, then we'll pursue it to the very end and pursue a trial, a jury trial in this case, so that Ms. Diamond can be decided by a group of her peers. Her case can be decided.
Counsel for both Ms. Ford and Mr. Gant, we've conferenced myself, Mr. Rowe, Ms. Shelton, as well as Ms. Fennell, and what our next steps are and hopes are to sit down with the state attorney. We want to sit down with Melissa Nelson to be able to present to her our facts and our perspectives of this and see what happens from there. But I hope that we'll be able to have that sit down, and we hope that justice is served. We hope that these charges are dropped and dismissed against Ms. Ford as well as Mr. Gant.
Absolutely, and we agree that the charges should be dropped against Anthony Gant. We also have a pending bond motion that should be heard sometime in the next coming weeks, and we're hopeful that the judge will take into consideration everything that we've learned in discovery so far, and will hopefully reduce his bond to something that he can afford, and he will be able to get out and be with Ms. Ford.
Any questions from you guys?
Yes, so I just want to make sure that when we're talking to people at home, that we are presenting everything correctly.
Absolutely.
So I know in this arrest report from JSO, they say that this was a residential search warrant. You guys mentioned no knock search warrant. So I just want to make sure that we are clear.
Yeah. And when you say you guys mentioned no knock, who's that?
So in the JSO arrest report, as it is written up,
Absolutely.
they call it a residential search warrant.
High risk.
So they talk about how DEA was involved, SWAT's involved, and allegedly they've been keeping an eye on this home. So then they have a residential search warrant. Not my words, their words.
Understood.
So I just want to make sure that we clarify that for people.
So for clarity purposes, it is not our position that this was a no-knock warrant. As we all know, no-knock warrants, they don't exist here in the state of Florida. However, in practice, if the announcement is in question, I think in practice, theoretically, if you fail to properly announce yourselves and you enter into the home of a citizen, that you're basically not knocking. You're not knocking and making yourself and announcing your presence. I think that in this case, the first interaction with that home was a break and rake on the bedroom window, and I believe that that is what caused Ms. Ford to act in the manner that she did. And it's her perspective that she did not hear any announcements, and it's our perspective that the announcements were not heard from our clients. We also believe that the 911 audio call is evidence of such. It's simple as this: you do not call the police on the police when you knowingly shot the police, especially not in that area of town. We know that it's high crime, and Ms. Ford, just hearing her voice, she was in fear. She thought that she was going to die that day. I recall showing her or letting her listening to the audio and looking at her initial reaction. And I believe that if you listen to the 911 call, that your perspective will likely be similar to mine.
Okay.
Have you heard the 911 call?
I haven't personally heard the 911 call, but there was a colleague who covered this when this happened in September.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's important for us to cover this and make sure that we explain this as clearly as we can
as possible.
to viewers.
Absolutely.
Because maybe for us who are looking through reports all the time, your specialty is in the law. You know what I'm saying? So
I understand completely. I also think that considering this, and it wasn't my choice of words nor yours as you stated, but they used the phrase high-risk warrant. So these law enforcement officers are entering into a residence that they know is high risk, is dangerous, right? Hence the fact that they're entering the home with military style weapons. They're entering into her home with flash bombs and things of that sort. They all have protective gear on, and in 2021 we have almost 30 officers out there and no body cam footage. I believe that we all, as an officer of the court, as law enforcement officers, we owe obligation to the community. And I think that when we don't use body cam footage and things of that sort that's available to us reasonably, that we're falling short on that obligation.
And I would just add that under Florida statutes, the police have a legal obligation to knock and announce themselves. That's pursuant to Florida statutes. Now, the law lays out a number of reasons why they don't have to, that we, in legalese terms, refer to as exigent circumstances. So, it's our position here that we haven't been provided with anything from the state that proves exigent circumstances, which means that they should have knocked and told them that they were at the home. And had that occurred, it's our position that this never would have happened. Ms. Ford and Mr. Gant would have come out peacefully, and this could have all been avoided.
I don't know, you were telling us that Mr. Gant is still in custody right now. For clarification, can you let us know what charges that they're both still facing? And I know there might be people watching later
Absolutely.
who also want to help Mr. Gant, because it was the community, we heard them say people have come from all over to help. Mm-hmm. So how much money does Mr. Gant need, and what charges are they still facing?
I'll let Ms. Shelton address Mr. Gant.
Well, they're both facing attempted murder of a law enforcement officer. And then there was also some marijuana found in the home, and so they're related marijuana charges. Mr. Gant is currently being held on a $350,000 bond. That we have that pending bond motion. It should be available to the public if anyone would like to review our position. And we're hopeful that once that's heard, that his bond will be lowered and we'll be able to get him out on something that he can afford, as the law says that he is entitled to.
One thing I'd like to tell you, when we say knock and announce, that announcement should be at a position that an ordinary, reasonable person would have heard it. If you listen to that tape, you listen to the silence, you listen to the fear in her voice, I'm sure that no reasonable person could doubt whether or not that she absolutely did not know that the police were breaking her window and busting in the door at the same time. It appeared to be a home invasion. If the police would have properly announced, we believe we would not be here today.
Yeah, she was outright astonished. Once she heard this is JSO, you can hear it in her voice. It's clear as day to me. And I think that and what my hopes are is my hopes and desires that our team can sit down with the state attorney's office and we'll be able to right this wrong. And I think that dropping these charges is it's only a fragment of justice, considering that Ms. Ford had sat in jail for 130 days and Mr. Gant is under these particular charges.
Have you all heard any correspondence yet from the state attorney's office? I know that's the goal, to be able to sit down and talk this through. Have you guys heard from them yet?
But what I will say is that the actual ASA who's handling it, his name is Christopher Huban, that I've been in contact with Mr. Huban, and Mr. Huban has not expressed any objections on sitting down and talking with us. So we're hopeful and we're looking forward to that. Anything else from anyone?
I didn't mean to take over the interview.
Yes, you did. Any further questions? Ms. Ford, you want to come up?
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? My name is Trey Johns. I'm the executive director of Dignity Power, and I'm here to ask somebody. Today is Sandra Bland's birthday. Rest in peace, Sandra Bland. Because obviously this country would rather hashtag black women than protect black women. You don't allow black women to protect themselves. So we are here to ask you to protect black women, stand for black women, because we are here to protect black women. We drove from all over the country, and in 6 days we raised over $500,000 for a black woman that's worth it, because she deserves the right to do what, if any man jumped up and protected his family in the way that she did, they would be giving him a statue. But as a woman and as a black woman, we are not allowed the same freedom and abide by the same laws that the rest of this country do. So we are here to ask, once again, Melissa, my sister, drop the charges against this mother who was protecting her daughter. There are a lot of other things that we could be focused on right now, but on this today, we need somebody, and we need Melissa to protect black women. Because Dignity is gonna stand here and we're gonna protect her with our very lives. Thank you.
If there's no further questions, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Protect black women! 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 At all costs! Protect black women! At all costs! Protect black women! At all costs! Protect